How much political power do the Ruraloids have? Aren't they ultimately a small and largely ignored group of people by the powers that be? No, they're constantly coddled by the powers that be, and they have disproportionate power in the Senate and the Electoral College. Their vote, like the vote of a guy in Wyoming, is literally worth like 4 times the vote of a guy in California. They're immensely coddled. They get huge, well, farmers get huge subsidies, not like every rural person or whatever. Don't a lot of rural people still get a lot of convenience and delicious treats, though? A lot of poor rural people live lives that are, in my opinion, wretched and like borderline third world in a lot of cases. And the thing that sucks is that you'd think they would be the easiest allies of socialists ever, because historically that's what they have been. In China, in Russia, for their respective revolutions, and in socialist organizations at the beginning of the 20th century in America, farmers, rural Americans, you know, there used to be a lot more economic solidarity there. But over the past, it's been going on for a while, but I think it's really, really ramped up in the past 60 years. There has been a project to convince these very poor rural people that, for one, they're real America. Cities are fake America. All attempts at modernizing rural areas are city propaganda. In fact, they're trying to destroy you. And everything that changes is both bad and caused by liberalism, immigrants, whatever. You know? Wasn't Marx critical of rural people? Well, he was probably like they're Hitlerites because they don't live near a Starbucks, yeah. But we also don't have a strong working class in cities, which could pull rurals. I don't know what country you live in, but like the strongest base of support for Bernie Sanders is like young, working and middle class city dwellers, you know? Like college age, yeah. Unfortunately, there has just been a very successful psyop, a very successful cultural project to convince rural poor, mostly white people, to vote against their interests. To an extent, lots of people vote against their interests, but what's been done to rural America is particularly shocking, man. People who live in areas like this are overwhelmingly likely to vote for the most pro-business, anti-working class people like possible. People up here in Idaho, brushing up against the Canadian border, will vote overwhelmingly based on fear of migrants, racial antagonism, the idea that liberals are trying to ruin their way of life, shit like that, you know? People who live like this, and I really don't think most people who live like this like living like this. Not all, but most, okay? These are often very deprived areas. They will do anything to protect their way of life. Even if the people they're voting for are not protecting their way of life, and also their way of life fucking sucks, even according to them. What are the immigrants even going to take from them? Good question. All this algae? Actually, that's quite beautiful. It's a very vibrant vault toilet. A golf course, lovely. This area looks a little more upscale. Senior community. Jesus, this has a name? Herrick? Population of what, 8? Oh, not even any street view here. In Indiana, they closed a whole school district without notifying anyone about it. Now kids will have to travel upwards of an hour to get to school or forced to do online schooling. Jesus. Notice how all of the towns here run along the 90 as well? Wait, I'm sorry, was that a town name? Drexel? Is that a town? Can't be a town. Is that like a county or something? God, they don't even have fucking street view over there. Here we go. Here's the one restaurant in the town. This photo was taken in 2008. Nothing there. It's got to be... What about something over here? Okay, here we go. Plains. Veterans of Foreign Wars. Oh, Lynch Street. Lovely. Well, here on Lynch Street, what do we got? Looking good. Just like a house. The church is a house. I just want to make it clear, because I know there are some bad faith motherfuckers out there, but I hope everyone understands the point of this is not to make fun of poor people for being poor. Being poor is based in red-pilled, actually. If anything, I envy you. Sorry, it's not necessarily true, that last part. It's the fact that these are like very deprived areas, and these people will vote for Adolf fucking Hitler to protect their way of life when their way of life sucks, and they know it, and they say it, just not to city people. Yeah, and all these pics are like a decade old. It's probably a lot worse now. Oh God, and don't take a look at like the incident rate of fentanyl overdoses in places like this. Well, that's a result of being poor, right? To an extent, but I think it is in many cases way better to be poor in an area with an actual community than to be poor in an area like this. Jesus, like at least if you're poor in a city, like it's you there's a potential that you can actually like do something, you know? Not just like economically, but I mean like have a life. For a lot of these people, like all their kids move. They just move. They move out. Yeah, nobody moves here. The population only goes down. That's why so many of these people, like, they get married at like 18 or something. Like, what do you have to do other than get married? You know, like you get married, have kids, and then congrats. Now you're in the cycle. Lots of plots, a lot of them probably unused. Charlo School District 7J. Catchy. Oh. Here. That's great. From June 2009, right at the beginning of the financial crisis. Look at that. Man, it's so poor, even the camera's dusty. Just speaking anecdotally, I'm sorry this topic touched a nerve for me because I generally agree with Vaush. Whenever me and my wife drive down to Destin and go through Alabama, it's like 150 miles of dog shit meth towns like we're looking at here. Yeah. I just know people are going to freak out about this in the subreddit, but I hope you all understand how much all of this is being motivated by a genuine desire for these people to have better lives. And maybe they should stop voting against my and their worst interests. You know? Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, this is an actual city. The sub was glazing you yesterday, you're fine? Yes! When you've won over even the reflexive contrarians. Wait! If you win over the reflexive contrarians, doesn't that mean that your take was cold, actually? Uh-oh. Okay, we've looked at the Northwest a bunch. What about an area that's not, that wasn't, like, homesteaded to fuck, you know? Let's take a look at a major freeway. Okay? We'll choose the 20. No, let's choose the 65. Okay? All right? We zoom in, and we find some stuff that's right off it. The 10? You want the 10? Okay, we can look at the 10. Where's the 10? Is the 10 even in Alabama? South? Oh, here. Okay, I see. Well, that's Florida, but whatever, sure. Okay, the 10. All right, here. Zoom. Holt. Well, at least we don't have shit cam. It's a recent photo. But yeah. A town, if you can believe it. Can you imagine trying to walk from place to place here? Oh, great. There's a restaurant. Pretty well rated, too. No community. At least no community infrastructure. I mean, there's no... Like, Jesus, look at all this. Good Lord. Good Lord. Who mows all that? Well, there's not much else to do. Sorry, I ended up spending a lot of today's stream complaining about rural America again. They had it coming? Yeah, that's probably true. Let's talk about autism again. No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. You'll be getting a very long email from me to ignore, by the way. Don't send me a long email, Kowalski. Just don't. Please don't. I do feel bad when I ignore it, even when I say I'm going to ignore it. Do you have any ideas on how to actually fix those towns outside of generally investing in them? I don't think you can fix those towns. I think you need to build new ones, basically. Thankfully, those towns are worth dog shit, so you can bulldoze them pretty easy. Like, I think you need to build new city centers. We basically don't build new city centers anymore. Like building new cities is just like a technology that we've lost. We don't do it anymore, you know? We need to say, like, this area right here is going to be like a small commercial district that we build out from, you know? You know what? Okay, last thing I'll show. You know what place I've seen that often does have like a nice, well-developed core city center? Some smaller mountain towns in Colorado. I think it's because over in Colorado, you're kind of forced to build small because of the way the mountains shape the state. So you kind of, like, you don't have much space to work with. So they kind of build out market squares. And there's a lot of money in Colorado relative to the population. Because they're billionaires? Well, yeah, but these city centers were built out before the areas became, like, wealthy or whatever, right? To an extent. Here, let me see if I can find something. Would this be a good example? No, this doesn't look like a good example at all. Let me see if I can. Aspen is famous, isn't it? Aspen is famous. That doesn't really work. Okay, I'm going to try to go to a place that's not super famous. Look at Boulder. That's also famous. Is there a commercial district here? I guess it would just be on the main road. Ew. Well, better than what we saw in Alabama, but no. No, this isn't what I was thinking of at all. Monroe's on the western slope. Okay, okay. Like, I'll be able to find it just based off that. Here we go. Look, look, look. This is probably also famous or whatever, but like, enclosed little mountain town, maybe that kind of forced them to develop a little denser. These roads look wide, though. Wow, that's beautiful. Oh, that's nice. I guess my point is just that, like, okay, for one, I want to make it clear, these roads are way the fuck too nice. Too wide. They're way too wide. Way too wide. However, it really doesn't take that much money to build, like, a city center like this. At all. You know? Like, it doesn't. There's nothing special about it. Really, it's not. Telluride's pretty well known here in Colorado. I'm just saying that you can apply these principles. You build out a city center. You have a core, and the core should be more or less walkable. Again, these roads are too wide. But like, yeah, and then you build it out like this. You try to encourage people to shop locally. You have zoning districts, or you have zoning rules that prohibit big box stores from opening up and siphoning wealth out of the town. Those roads are wide because of snow. It's something European towns don't have as much of as towns in Colorado. That makes sense. If it snows heavily, you need wide roads so that you have a place to shovel the snow onto. So this median lane here is used for parking during the summer, but during the winter, they would drive the big plow through it and shove the snow into the middle. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I still feel like it's too wide, but okay, yeah. I think that's workable. Just use spades, dipshit. Why would you do that? When you can, like, drive a little beep beep truck with a plow. Look up Elyria, Ohio. I mean, we literally did this bit before when we were looking at France, man. How, like, there were a bunch of little French towns. You don't even have to go to, like, super big ones or whatever, but you can still reliably... Okay, this isn't tiny, but it's also not huge. But you have, like, a more... I don't know if it's, like, the influence of the Roman Empire or whatever, where they were like, you know, it's better to have, like, a big city square. Oh, God. Oh, that's... I literally just chose a random place. See... I'm just saying, man. I'm not saying every little American village can have, like, an ancient cathedral or whatever. I'm just saying, like, you have to build out from, like, sensible principles, you know, sensible understanding of how cities should work. Stop building cities on the highway. Build them off the highway. Seriously. Stop having it so that the highway goes straight through the city and then you have, like, off ramps to get into the restaurants or whatever. Have a big off ramp exit that then goes down a minute and then there's a town with a center. I just chose a random one. I'm sure Saint Julien or whatever, or Junien is like a famous city or something. Maybe, I don't know. What about this? This is small. Sardin. What about this? Dude, I bet you this village has, like, 2,000 people. Look at this. And I'm not saying it's, like, crazy wealthy or whatever. I'm not saying this is, like, peak living or whatever. But fuck, man, wouldn't you rather live here than a lot of what we've seen in America? For me, it's just straightforwardly this is better. Like not even comparison between them. Are there any examples of American cities or villages with similar or desirable layout? At a village level, very, very few. And if they are, they're anomalies. Meanwhile, in France, this is basically every village. But aren't rural European areas also xenophobic, racist, and spiteful? It is more complicated. For example, in Germany, the big split for AfD is East versus West Germany. I think that there's going to be a Hitlerite tendency to rural areas no matter what, but also there is a big difference between rural America and rural, like, little French village. I'm sure that people here are more reactionary on average than the average, like, Parisian, right? That's probably true. But my guess is that the divide is greater in America because the living divide is greater, right? Like, the actual experience of living in rural America versus a city in America is enormous, huge difference. Whereas, like, the difference between living in a village like this and living in Paris, huge, don't get me wrong, but I bet you it's a little closer. I bet that. I would bet it's closer. Not that it's close, just closer. Lâché? Okay, this isn't even a village. This is just like a collection of houses. But look, even here, even in an area that isn't big enough to have a commercial district, the houses are clustered together. You have community here, and then the farming areas sort of spiral out from that. See, like you can walk to your neighbor's house. It's called a hamlet. I think it's lovely. I wouldn't want to live there personally. I'm a city boy, but isn't it nice that if you live here, you have next door neighbors? Humans are supposed to have neighbors. We have since we lived in tribes. Yeah, these little hamlets. Saint-Pierre-Bellevue. That's also like a little hamlet, but it's got a pizza pop. Cute. Middle of nowhere, but cute. Dude, you have neighbors! Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, we're looking at hamlets right now. I meant to look at villages. Francais? No, that's also a hamlet. We're like super zoomed in right now. Guéret? Okay, this is more of a town. Mensa? Kind of? Oh. Yeah. Again, you're close to your neighbors. Now try Eastern Europe? Sure. Let's go to Romania. How many people makes it a town? I'm vibing, you know, I'm doing a little... Wait. Oh, sorry. Wrong side of Ukraine. Here we go. What about this? That's more of a town. Let me find something a little smaller. What about Sibiu? No, okay, this is like a city. Le Penny? Okay, okay, maybe. I mean, it's very poor. It's like Romania, but it's like a developed area. Here, maybe that's not the best example. What about Sisibel? Does this have a commercial district? Doesn't even have a street view access there. Kugir? Okay, let's just choose a place. What the hell am I looking at down here? Oh, okay. Yeah, if anything, it's like suburbia, but less lawns. It's a very poor area, but I think the underlying design principles here are still better. Check Poland. Poland is wealthier than Romania by a good margin. We might see a little bit more representative, because a poor country remains a poor country, right? The real tragedy with America is like we have all this wealth and we don't use it to make our cities beautiful. Let me check Lithuania. Well, hold on. Lesno? This is quite large. Yeah, this is like a town. Okay, give me a village. Give me a Polish village. Nisa? This looks good. No, this looks like a town again. Okay, Jesenik? Sure, yeah. Oh, well, this looks quite developed. I don't know. I think I've made my point. Also, unfortunately, that's in Czechia. Oh, am I in Czechia now? I am, yes. I just crossed the border. Some Polacks going to kill me now. I know how they are over there. Here we go. Okay, here we go. This is a village. This is definitely a village. Yeah, even here. Even here in an area that definitely is a village characteristically, the farmland spreads out from the central area, and the central area has houses that you can walk between. There's even sidewalks. You know? See, the farmland is behind the houses. It's here, and even the houses over here are like a little more concentrated. This might be one property, though. I can't really say. and this is a poor Vivoid I don't know what a Vivoid is, but yeah, this is obviously not like a super wealthy area. The point I'm just trying to make, I guess, is I don't know. We just turn this into another like GeoGuessr stream, basically. I gotta go. I actually have to go strictly at 3 p.m. this time. Sorry.